30-year-old teacher Jeremy Forrest was plastered across headlines all over the UK when he fled to France with one of his 15-year-old students, sparking an international manhunt. Megan Stammers was your average schoolgirl living in Eastbourne, East Sussex. She attended Bishop Bell School, and it was in Year 9 that she first met maths teacher Jeremy Forrest. Jeremy Forrest was described as a great teacher, and being just 30 years old, he was a mentor that students felt that they could talk to easily. In his spare time, he was a singer-songwriter whose lyrics were relatable to young people. He often discussed music with students and was known to be a cool teacher who was laid back, but also very efficient in his job. One thing that Jeremy failed to do was remain professional when he struck up an illegal relationship with 15-year-old student Megan. Megan, as many young teenagers do, developed a crush on Jeremy. This crush started innocently. Megan would leave things behind in his classroom on purpose so that she could engage in conversation with him, and on a school trip to LA in February 2012, Megan felt closer to Jeremy as the pair would discuss bands that they both liked, including Nirvana. It was when she returned from this trip that Megan followed Jeremy on Twitter and prayed for a response. Just a few short weeks later, Jeremy crossed the ultimate boundary when he initiated an online conversation with her. Jeremy's message read, "Did I upset you?" after Megan had acted up in one of his maths lessons. From this point onwards, the pair conversed every single day. Megan was suffering from mental health issues at the time. She had been secretly battling with bulimia and had periods of depression. The attention that Jeremy showed her served as the perfect distraction, and soon, their inappropriate friendship would turn into an illegal relationship. 4 months after the trip to LA, Jeremy messaged Megan asking if she wanted to go for a drive. The pair drove around a quiet area near to where they lived. Things had never reached this point before. They had never communicated in person outside of school. But in June, just days after Megan's 15th birthday, Jeremy kissed Megan as they walked along the seafront. During the summer, the pair met up almost every day, embarking on a secret relationship. Megan's mum was none the wiser, as Megan would tell her that she was staying at a friend's house, but she was actually staying in hotels with Jeremy, and sometimes even his home. Even more shockingly, Jeremy had a wife. He told Megan that things between them had never been perfect, and that they were consistently arguing after just under a year of marriage. He told Megan that the pair had separated and were sleeping in different rooms. On one occasion, Jeremy even went to get a tattoo dedicated to his secret relationship with Megan. The tattoo depicted an image of a young girl, with Nirvana lyrics alongside it. Unbeknownst to everyone around them, Jeremy's and Megan's relationship turned. In July 2012, Jeremy took Megan's virginity in the spare bedroom of his home. Megan recalls that Jeremy knew that what they were doing was wrong, often expressing his guilt and saying that it wasn't right. But this didn't stop Jeremy from continuing their relationship. By September 2012, Megan was starting Year 11, but the relationship she had with her maths teacher was no longer a secret. Rumours began to circulate throughout the school after a girl that Megan had worked with on a summer placement had spotted her getting into Jeremy's car on one occasion. Megan faced relentless backlash from peers, who would utter degrading names to her in the hallways, and teachers seemed to care too much for Jeremy's career, pulling him away whenever they saw Megan and Jeremy in the same room. Teachers allegedly investigated the rumours, but couldn't find any evidence of the pair communicating. Megan began suffering from panic attacks as she felt a sense of guilt and responsibility rush over her. She began to feel like she was, in fact, the one who was ruining Jeremy's life. But the reality was that Jeremy, a grown adult, was abusing his power to elicit a relationship with a child. On September 19th, everything came to a head. Megan received a call from her brother whilst she was at school. He told her that the police were at the home and that they'd been informed that she had been texting a teacher. She called Jeremy immediately, and the pair decided that they were going to run away together. By the time Megan had returned home, all messages and images of Jeremy had been erased from her phone, and she handed it over to the police. The next night, she told her mum that she was going to stay at her friend's house, and the day after that, at 4:30 p.m, Jeremy picked Megan up from her friend's house in his black Ford Fiesta. The pair drove to the ferry port and boarded a ferry to Calais. Just days later, CCTV footage of the pair on the way to Dover circulated news channels all over Europe. Media appeals were made for the missing teenager who had been abducted by her teacher. Meanwhile, on the ferry to Calais, Jeremy threw his phone into the sea. Soon after arriving in Bordeaux, Jeremy checked them both into a hotel using cash, and they spent the next 5 days evading capture. By day 5, the pair were running out of money. Jeremy purchased hair dye for Megan so that she could disguise her identity, and they created fake CVs under new names to find jobs. Jeremy applied for a job at a small British pub, and it was on day 8, on the way to his trial shift, that the pair were finally recognised and caught. Police spotted the pair and handcuffed them both. Megan was bundled into the back of a van, and this was the last time that she saw Jeremy until she faced him in court. Megan was questioned immediately regarding her relationship with Jeremy. She told the police about everything, including their relationship, and was taken on a flight back home to England. Megan was unable to return to normal school. She was sent to a special institution alongside children with behavioural problems, and she knuckled down in preparation for her GCSEs. 9 months later, on the same week of her exams, Jeremy would go on trial for child abduction and the minor. With all of the evidence that had been brought against him, including Megan's own words from her police interview, the jury found Jeremy guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. As the verdict was read out to the court, Megan wept, and Jeremy mouthed "I love you" to the teenager before being taken away. Jeremy served less than 3 years of his sentence before being released in July 2015.